Hi everyone, welcome to your Indigo art project on painting with acrylics. Let's get started. First, we'll review our art inspiration. Then, we'll take a look at our supplies and get set up. Next, we'll draw a simple sketch. And finally, we'll learn how to mix colors and create forms by painting with acrylics. Let's take a look at our art inspiration. Today, we have two paintings by Paul Cezanne, Ginger Jar and Apples. Cezanne was a post-impressionist artist who used specific colors and brushstrokes to create form with color. He played with perspective in his paintings and challenged viewers to think about how we see form and depth on a flat, two-dimensional canvas. Notice how, in Ginger Jar, he's arranged the objects in a way that doesn't quite make sense in terms of a realistic perspective. The table tilts in an unusual way, the fruits appear oddly large but bright with color, and the background seems to absorb a jar in space. In Apples, you can see the angular brushstrokes Cezanne used to build his color. Now, let's take what we've learned about Cezanne and get set up to make our own painting. Everything we need is right inside the box. All you need in addition is a cup of water and a few paper towels. Let's quickly review the materials. Acrylic paints are a type of paint used as an alternative to oil paints that were more commonly used by historical artists like Paul Cezanne. Acrylic paints are easier to use because they dry much faster than oil paints and are water soluble. Different brands of acrylics will have a different pigment concentration and different levels of thickness or viscosity. The thickness and pigment concentration will affect how the paint dries, mixes with other colors, and affects different painting surfaces like canvas or wood. We'll use canvas paper for our final product. This type of paper works well for absorbing acrylic paints. We also have several different types of brushes to choose from. Finally, we have a color wheel that we can use as a tool to help us when we mix colors. We can mix colors to create colors just the way we want them and experiment with different combinations. Now let's get set up. Lay out the butcher paper and tape all four corners to protect your surface area. Tape the art inspiration to the butcher paper to one side so that you can easily look at it for inspiration. We'll also take the thicker canvas paper out for our drawing and tape it to the butcher paper, but feel free to practice on sketch paper first. Take out the note card and pencil. Trace the note card on the canvas paper to define our drawing and painting area. Before we begin, take a minute to look how simple the drawn forms are in Cezanne's painting. Notice how the different colors and direction of the brushstrokes create more form and complexity to the painting. Cezanne has flattened the perspective of the painting, but the apples still have shape and depth. Notice the shadow behind the apples. Now start with a quick, simple pencil drawing. We'll spend more time painting with acrylic paints to build up the forms. Draw several circles for the apples and smaller inner circles for the core. Now set aside your sketch and take out your color wheel to start experimenting with acrylics and mixing colors. You can use the color wheel as a guide to better understand how when different colors are combined, they result in a new color. Take out another sheet of canvas paper and start testing out small amounts of acrylic on your sheet, mixing color with your brush. The primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. These three colors alone can be used to create any color in the color spectrum. Notice how yellow and blue make green. Yellow and red make orange. Now set aside your canvas for mixing colors so that you can use this canvas sheet as a palette, where you can apply color to your paintbrush. Place your canvas drawing in front of you so that you can start applying color. Try mixing a bit of yellow and red to start for the color of the apple. You can add a bit of blue to darken the shade. Now paint on one side of the apple with short up and down brush strokes. You can directly mix more color on the canvas. You might add a bit of yellow to lighten the color as you start to paint towards the bottom of the apple. You can start to slightly curve your brush strokes as you work your way around the apple. Notice how if we apply the darker shade of red on one side and continue with a slightly lighter shade on the other side, the apple starts to take on form. Think about how light might be shining on the apple, causing some parts to appear lighter and some other parts to appear darker. Add a small touch of brown for the apple core. And you might add white to show the reflection of light. Continue to add and blend color as you like, taking the painting in any direction you like, focusing on experimenting with blending the colors. The skills we learn here for blending color can be applied not only with acrylics, but many different types of mediums, like soft and oil pastels and watercolor paints. Now start on the next apple, trying out a different color and shading pattern. You might try working with a lighter yellow color, starting in the top left. And paint red in the bottom right-hand corner of the apple. This apple might be turned in a different way, causing the light and shade of the color to appear differently. Continue to blend and build color up using short brush strokes. You might even add a touch of green in the top right of the apple. Then add a touch of brown for the core. Now you're ready for the final apple. Experiment with another way to add color and create shading with a different color. For the background, you can select a darker color and paint around the apples to give them a bit more depth and create a shadow-like effect. Congrats, you've just made an acrylic still life painting inspired by the post-impressionist Paul Cezanne. Share it online, frame it, or even keep working on it. Practice the skills that you've learned while you wait for your next Indigo art box to arrive in the mail.